The featherweight title is on the line here in Bournemouth tonight, and it could be about pace and intensity. This one is brought to you by the Funky Peach, a combination of design, creativity, skill, quality, and customer service all in one. Well, Dean, we looked at this one. We knew about Ule Hetleflat and Garaee Meadow. There's a lot to say about these guys. The time has finally come for them to meet.
This one has the fight of the night written all over it. The talk around the fight is that it won't reach the final bell. Meadow very aggressive, Hetleflat very competent in all areas of mixed martial arts.
All right, well, you saw the numbers up on screen a moment ago. A touch of gloves not happening, says Garaee Meadow as he shoots in for the takedown on Hetleflat.
Hetleflat with a nice sprawl. He's going to dig the underhooks here as well. He's going to turn this into double underhooks, potentially get the big slam. Beautiful work from Hetleflat.
Ule Hetleflat going airborne here in Supreme Championships. This is what he predicted. This is what Ule told me he was going to do. I'm going to go out there, get a hold of this guy, demolish him, and smash him. And you know what? Garaee Meadow, though, has a reputation for being a wild man in the cage, too. It takes two to tango.
Yeah, he uses his strength to his advantage. Once released, he will come out guns blazing with the feel-out process in sight. I mean, he goes straight for the kill. But he's exceptionally strong in these positions. You know, you didn't expect him to spring to his feet. You won't expect him to sweep in these positions. But Hetleflat's he's got a mount now. This is going to be very difficult for Garaee Meadow to escape. He's got to think about bucks here, potential sweeps as well. He's got to think about half guards to alleviate the pressure and the dominant position from Hetleflat.
Yeah, it strikes me that Hetleflat was able to take Meadow completely out of his game. You mentioned the intense approach that we often see, but Hetleflat, so far, it's been a one-way operation, taking the back. Unreal. He's going to go for that choke, Dean. He's got the figure four, and can Meadow hang on here?
Hetleflat just a little bit off to that right side. He needs to be square on the hips, largely due to the body triangle he's got here. He needs the traditional hooks on the inside of the hips of his opponent. He's falling off a little bit. It's possible to finish from this position, but a little bit more difficult given the angle of the pressure is different. You don't get a cleaner choke.
So Meadow trying to hand fight here. Hetleflat staying with the position. The body triangle is on, as you alluded to. Meadow able to flop it to the side with the lock on. That can be certainly one approach to relieving the pressure and starting the escape maneuvers. I feel like Hetleflat has kind of swapped up the grip a couple of times here. He may be in submission territory, Dean.
This looks like he's partly under the chin at this point, potentially just crushing the throat as opposed to a choke on the side of the head. Oh, he's got him flattened out now. He's got a squeeze on. Meadow frantically trying to escape this position. He's going to reach up and try and pull the left arm down of Hetleflat.
This could be tight. This could be tight. Meadow trying to hand fight. Hetleflat just all over him here, staying really locked on. He's kind of had to relieve the pressure with the body triangle. He does, I believe, actually have both ankles crossed, which, you know, sometimes guys do, maybe a bad habit, but it can improve the control you get, right, Dean?
Yeah, I think that at this point in time, he's just trying to stay on the back, but the further he goes up towards the head of Meadow, the more Meadow can try to buck and escape in that position. But the flatten out is the key here for Hetleflat. He needs that for the ground and pound and also to hide that choke that he wants.
So Ule Hetleflat staying busy, trying to work his way underneath the chin. Again, it's for a title, and he wanted to have a one-way performance, but you know what? Meadow's got a fascinating life story. You know, back in Egypt, growing up, watching his brother, sparring the fights. His dream is to be a successful professional here, and you know what? One round down, he has to come up with a plan B. Hetleflat was able to go out there and really establish himself. Dean, this is how it all went down.
And for Hetleflat as well, he's come out with an excellent game plan, given that we know Meadow's aggressive, he's strong, he comes out swinging. Hetleflat now has selected the blueprint, take him down, nullify the striking on the feet, and look to channel his aggressions on the ground, you know, limit the ability. Oh, look at that beautiful slam. Limit his ability to use that power on the feet. For Meadow now, if he wants to stay on his feet, he's got to sprawl and brawl. If he's going to shoot those takedowns, he's got to put the strike in. I'd like to see some level changes from him as well to bring the hands down of Hetleflat. But Hetleflat, for me, is executing his game plan perfectly.
I agree. Hetleflat was definitely keen to get the grappling going, but he was keen to strike as well. I think that they worked really hard. I had the pleasure of connecting with the team out there in Norway, and they had an awful lot to say. I mean, he's even putting in work at 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu in Bergen. But so far, the grappling, I think, has been the biggest differentiator.
There's lots of channeled focus from Hetleflat as well. He hails from Norway, as we know, and he has to make the trip to compete in MMA as it's still illegal there, so he's totally dedicated to the fight game.
Yeah, definitely an interesting series of circumstances, especially when talking about like how tough training was during the pandemic, even to be able to go into a gym and somehow find ways to keep in shape. Hetleflat going for that jab to the low calf kick, I think. That's the technique they've worked on. You mentioned that as well. And Meadow just says, let's go. I love it. Meadow looking to tie up. Hetleflat, again, just bulldogging his way forward.
He's asking his wrestling here, Hetleflat, because quite simply, when we asked Gary Meadow what will happen in this fight, he said, I will rip him in half. That's probably what we're seeing. Hetleflat close him down and get the takedown, you know, nullify the power and try and keep himself in one piece.
Hetleflat just driving forward, stuffing the knee, looking to slowly advance his position. Meadow holding on to a guillotine, but a futile attempting.
Yeah, difficult to finish from here. Potentially viable, but given that the right arm is in the throat from Hetleflat, it's going to be very difficult to gain the leverage to put pressure on that neck. I'd advise him to let go of that, to use the hip escape to get to the full guard, potentially get his hands and his feet underneath him and cage walk back up to his feet. Also, holding onto this neck without the submission there, it's going to further burn out his arm.
Hetleflat trying to advance here. Fighting the hands, fighting the legs. Good combination here of the efforts to improve his position. And punching to the body as well. There's something to be said for the full package here. Like you said, you can see the shoulder pressure, forcing Meadow to release that guillotine. But still, hey, hanging in half here so far, Dean.
Hetleflat with incredible submission defense, understanding that shoulder pressures your opponent flat to nullify any leverage. Also, it's quite uncomfortable. One of the key escapes as well to the guillotine. Straight to the mount now for Hetleflat in this position. He can rain down punches up against the cage as well. Meadow's a little bit shut off.
He's going to go maybe for, he was going to go head and arm choke, it looked like. He even thought about pinning the arm. Maybe going for a pillow V arm lock or something like that. It's just a crazy, cool, complete package that Hetleflat has of kind of forward pressure and aggressive, you know, grappling. Meadow is unorthodox, though. The guy's just like somehow always in each fight, whether he's punching off his back. Hetleflat, though, in probably one of the best positions of this fight so far. Again, look at that. He's going to go for the arm here, Dean. Can he go straight arm bar?
Looking for the Americano. He's going to lift that shoulder. Nice shoulder lock. Excellent. Again, Meadow with his power. He bucked out of that position and pulled his arm back in. He's going to hold on to Hetleflat now in favor of trying to obtain a stand-up.
And that's what I mean. Like, Gary Meadow is always kind of making it difficult and making it awkward for you to attack. Oh, no, 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 no. Yes, yes, yes. Ula Hetleflat, just as I said, Meadow's submission defense was on point. Hetleflat goes for the armbar with seconds to go in this round.
Meadow doing a great job stacking his opponent. He's got to retract those arms out of danger. Now he's got the opportunity to be in the top positions, but he's got to pass the legs.
Wow, insane. Meadow having words there. Ula Hetleflat went for the Hail Mary. It was a good time. I mean, if ever there was a time to give up position, that would have been it. Dean, take us through the action.
Again, Hetleflat in the top position, both knees on the ground, looking for the ground and pound, but it's when he went for the submission that it enabled Meadow to escape. But look at this armbar, Chris. Thumb down, hitchhiker escape all the way through. Arms at a precarious angle, but Meadow's way too tough to tap and ends up in the top position.
And that's what I mean about Meadow. He's the kind of guy you'd roll with in the gym and you'd say, oh, this is supposed to work, yet it doesn't against you.
And that's largely due to his strength, and we spoke about that early on. He uses his strength to his advantage, in particular positions like that. And we roll a certain way, we train a certain way. There's certain things we don't do, for instance, pushing on the chest. You know, we won't put our arms in certain positions. But Meadow does that, which throws traditional guys off, and then coupled with his immense power, he enables him to escape those positions.
Man, I love it. Is everything we anticipated between these two. Both guys are really coming to fight here. Well, the title's on the line, and Ula Hetleflat seems to have the winning strategy thus far, but Gary Meadow making an interesting one round potentially. What do you do if you're Meadow?
Meadow's good to go for broke, but he does that from round one anyway. But he's got to make sure he avoids the takedown and keeps his back off the cage to prevent Hetleflat taking this down to the ground and controlling.
And if you're Ula?
I mean, Ula, again, box, smart, MMA statistics, and there we go, beautiful. The statistics you say when you take somebody down, the more takedowns you get, you edge yourself up in the judges' scorecards, and he does that perfectly. He uses the strikes to disengage the striking of his opponent, changes levels, gets the takedown. Now he's going to look to pull Meadow away from the cage and secure the side control, or potentially go to the mount here.
So in this case, you would argue that the boxing of Hetleflat has opened up the dominance on the ground, which has helped him win rounds?
Yeah, again, we talk about statistics. When you see a takedown in a fight, the judges usually see that as an immense control. and we haven't seen effective striking from Meadow. So Hetleflat selecting that blueprint to get the takedown, to get to a dominant position in the mount. Now look at this ground and pound. As soon as Hetleflat postures up, he's going to rain down the ground and pound. When he's closer to his opponent, he might look for submissions and body shots.
Yeah, it's interesting to talk about like how tight you are to somebody in these positions. So your argument is when he's really, really close and maybe grip fighting like this, he'd be looking for a submission, or when he postures conversely, the ground and pound?
Yeah, he's looking to isolate the arm. He's looking to control potentially head and arm choke here. Oh, he's got the arm secured. He's going to pass around. Gives it up though. Again, there's the buck, there's the power consistently through the rounds from Meadow, and that throws Hetleflat off from securing that position and chasing the submission.
Yeah, Meadow was looking to buck there. You can see him bring his feet closer to his body and try to actually bridge. But Hetleflat just continues to stay busy and stay dominant here. That has been the story of this fight.
Yeah, the dominant position in the mount is one of the best. He's got his legs over his opponent's legs. He's able to punch and submit. And the key here for me is Hetleflat. He's enabled himself to stay in this position. The second he senses Meadow's escape, he immediately goes back to day 101. Knees on the ground, hands out for base, maintaining the position before the submission.
So good work here continues from Hetleflat. The championship, the belts, moments away potentially here if he's able to ride this round out and stay dominant. For Gary Meadow, it's not been for lack of trying, but so far, Hetleflat marching towards the finish line in full mount here, continuing to have his way, going for the attack again, Dean.
Meadow used this position to escape last time and sweep to the top position after the armbar as well, so he's got to be careful about the submission defense and the escapes that Meadow ties to his initiations. When he's in trouble, you think he's going to tap, but he explodes and gets on top of you. But again, Hetleflat dipping into the 101 book of MMA, position before submission, goes back to the mount, looks to use strikes to obtain a grip on the arm. He's potentially again looking for a head and arm choke, but it gives it up in favor of the punches.
Yeah, it's an interesting paradox, isn't it, when a guy offers you an opportunity to attack a submission and you take it and he uses it to escape. That's it. That's it. We go the distance here in this championship fight. Hetleflat and Gary Meadow will go to the judges' scorecards. This is how it all happened.
Hetleflat's wrestling up against the cage, and his ability to take this fight to the ground and maintain the top positions we're seeing here from the replay. And he mixed up the body shots, he mixed up the head shots, he mixed up the submission attempts as well. You see there he's going briefly for the head and arm triangle. His ability to stay in this dominant position in mixed martial arts, I believe, has edged his way to this title.
And we'll get the official verdict. There you go. The championship strap goes to that man, Hetleflat. The 24-year-old had promised improvements and hard work would pay off. And indeed they have here tonight. Victorious over Gary Meadow, Hetleflat is the winner and gets the championship belt here in Supreme Championships.
As always, Meadow in very exciting fights, but the story of the fight, Hetleflat controlling the dominant striker, the powerful striker, maintaining the top position, ground and pound submission attacks. Hetleflat had it all.
Yes, he did. And tonight, he walks away with the belt.